Multifamily Mindset
podcast. Think bigger.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MFM podcast with me, Dallas Pruitt. You know the drill. Here on Thursdays, we dive into the mindset side of multifamily, and we extract some of the pearls from the interviews that happened earlier in the week. This week, we had Austin Darion on the podcast with Cindy, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him in person as well as his grandma, and they are an absolute pleasure to know. They're amazing people, and I want to congratulate him for putting himself in a position to learn these types of things at such a young age. I think back to my upbringing and back to the decisions I made at the age of 22, 21, 20 years old. And I definitely made some decisions that put me in a good spot. But when it came to the education side of business, of entrepreneurship, of just building wealth and life, I really had a much different mentality at the time. I had a one-track mind. I was going to school to get a degree, to get a job. And I just think it's pretty amazing that he has opened himself up to all of these things at such a young age and then made some decisions to move down these paths. I also loved how he continued to give credit to others and to God for all of his success. I can relate 1,000%, and I believe that to be so true, that without God's hand in my life, without his blessings and some miracles that have transpired over the course of my years, as well as an amazing group of people around me, I would never be where I am at today. He also shared his deep-seated why regarding his grandma and his sentiment of being able to do it for her, do all of this for her. So kudos to his grandma, one, for putting her, or as well as for putting her grandson in a position to be able to do these things and learn these things that he's currently learning and doing, and really just overall help change the trajectory of the generations to come in their family. And I really think that's the route that I want to take with today's episode, is changing that trajectory, doing things that will change the trajectory of the generations to come. And in typical fashion, I actually want to do this by sharing a series of better questions for everybody to sit on post today's show. The first question that I would like to ask everyone, or invite everyone to ask themselves, is what are we doing to give the younger generations around us access to the things that they aren't learning in school? I just shared a little bit about some of the decisions I made at age 20 and 21. And a lot of those decisions were made the way they were because of my circle of influence. And for no fault of their own, my mom, my dad, teachers that were around me, they had never been taught these things. They had never been taught growth mindset. They had never been taught the value of entrepreneurship, mindset in general, business, critical thinking, creative problem solving, the principle of adding value. These were not things that I was taught, and it was because a lot of those adults who are amazing, beautiful adults and are a huge reason why I'm even where I'm at today, they weren't taught these things at a young age. They weren't taught these things as adults. These things are not being taught in schools a lot of the time. They are not being, especially in the high schools. And then our colleges, they're obviously being bombarded with a lot of different things right now. And are we trusting the education system?
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you take a moment to leave us a review and a rating. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Plus, we love hearing from you. Thanks so much for your support.
And I say this with all the oomph and pizzazz that I possibly can, because I once was a high school teacher. I lived in the schools. I taught. I worked on the admin side. I understand how things operate. I was a part of that system and process. And I can promise you and assure you that the schools are not teaching these things, sometimes even at a basic level. These aren't things that I learned in school. You did not learn these things in school. The school of hard knocks was really what taught me these things. And really, the school of hard knocks is really what is the best teacher. But with that being said, we have a responsibility to our kids and others we love and serve to share what we know, to share and invite, not force. And because I believe that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I think that there are 1,000,001 different paths to success in life, but knowledge is power, and that helps us to make better decisions. And so, again, our job is to share what we know, share our truths, and then invite others, not force. So, my better question is, what are we doing to give the generations, these younger generations around us, access to these types of things that they aren't learning and teaching in schools? Number 2 is, I want to just take it to a little bit deeper level. Are you opening your mouth up to those around you about the things you've learned and are learning and doing? Are you sharing? Sharing truly is caring. There is nothing to hide. I think oftentimes the path less chosen is one we keep our mouths shut about because it feels uncomfortable to share certain things with others, things that are unfamiliar to other people that maybe they don't quite understand or don't get. From my experience, the more we share, the more others ask questions, the more we can invite. It's not for everyone, but it is for a lot of people. And if we stay silent and fail to show our authentic true selves and truths and share these things, those that these things are all for, those people will miss out, and help for them will be prolonged. They'll be stuck on an island with no outreaching hand. Again, I believe it's our duty to share what we know, why we know it, and then invite others, not force. Number 3 today, and the last one that I'll share, is what's your unique story with all of this? And how are you bringing that into the sharing process? Vulnerability really is a secret weapon for you, for me, for everyone. It's one that I'm still learning to open up more and more up to, because it is scary. It is scary because my story and your story probably go against the grain of what society deemed as average or normal. But here's what I continue to learn: that you are uniquely set up to help a unique set of people. Your experience might seem isolated in comparison to everyone else's, but the reality is there are a lot of people who share the same storyline as you, and there are a lot of people from my experience that are still stuck in the pain of not making that positive change for the lack of help around them, or their perceived lack of help around them. When you speak up about your experience, about your truths, it creates a magnetic pull towards you and your business, whatever that is. Honest, authentic, real, these things create stronger connections in all areas of your life. And in order to create those strong connections through those types of pillars, you must be willing to be vulnerable. And again, it's something I'm learning to do more and more each day. And as every inch I move forward there, I see better results in terms of those relationships strengthening, progress in my business, progress in fatherhood, progress in marriage. It's amazing. It really is amazing. You have nothing to hide. Your story is unique, but it's maybe not as unique as you think it is. And with all of this, meaning this third question here, with multifamily real estate being a people business, again, this one right here, it's only going to bode in your favor. So my invite with today's show for everybody is to sit on these better questions, to ponder them, to consider them deeply. And I mean, as always, I invite anybody to take them to paper and write out your responses. Write out your thoughts, throw them out on paper on purpose, find some clarity, and then do something about it all. Do something different, do something better about it all. Better questions like these produce better results in our lives and our businesses, and it is my mission and hope to make these types of better questions the norm inside of the lives of so many people who come to this podcast as a font of possible solutions, better solutions for the problems they face. I want to thank Austin once again for sharing his story with Cindy, and thanks Cindy as well this past week. It's exciting to see the world is in good hands with the up and coming generations. We owe it to them to share everything we know, to fight the good fight, however that looks like for us, to get them more involved and to listen to them. They are amazing. Be the mentor you wish you would have had 10 or even 20 years ago, depending on where you're at in your journey. In all we do, it's about helping others grow and lead the types of lives we know deep down we are truly capable of. Thanks to everyone for joining us as always here on the podcast. And please continue to rate and review the show. And we will see you guys back here on the podcast again next week.
Multifamily mindset. Podcast. Think bigger.